idea and want to do something of your own, but lack the right guidance, you are at the right place today. Hello again, everyone. Hope you all are keeping safe and healthy during this pandemic time. As per our commitment to keep you engaged and make you meet new people while sitting at home, we are back yet again with another episode of Kids Live. Today we have with us Shishir Gupta and Shishir Miglani. Shishir Gupta is the founder and CEO of StartupLanes, an ecosystem for startups that has 4,000 plus accelerated startups based in 40 cities across 7 countries. StartupLanes specializes in raising funds from angel investors and venture capitalists. He founded his first startup in 2001 and has 16 years of experience in the startup world and 2 years of handling the family business. Till today, he has helped more than 1,000 startups across the globe. He has also helped many startups in creating a great business model, building technology, fundraising, marketing strategy, and expansion. He has also authored the book Startup Step by Step. Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
We also have with us Shishir Meglani, the co-founder of Kidzpreneur. Shishir is a serial entrepreneur, technology proponent who believes technology will touch our lives in future in never thought before ways. He has executed some of the challenging technology solutions for government and enterprise alike. He has a vision to transform the education sector in ways not thought before, and Kidzpreneur is just a start for him. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much for the introduction.
Now that we have you today, Shishir, with us, so I think it's gonna be, an entertaining session where we'll come to know so much about the startups and how these work and how people get motivated and begin with their journey in startups. So before we begin, there's this book that you've written for the entrepreneurs who want to begin their startups, maybe. So what motivated you to write this book in the first place?
So, Aditi, I was researching about, in fact, when I was struggling to build my business, I was researching about business, and I went through a lot of books. All the books told me about how to manage the business, but unfortunately, there was no book for generating idea. There was no mention of how to actually create a business. So I thought probably I would do something, but never got time. So that is way back in 2001. In 2015, then when I was a bit free, I was in a settled business, got a lot of time. So that moment I thought, why don't I start doing something about that? Again, I've researched a lot of things, but there was no book which taught about how to create a business, how to think of the idea, how you can create the business. So I thought, why don't I write it myself? It took me 3 years in writing, in research, and completing it, and finally that was out. So you can say the major motivation was to influence people to actually create business, not to manage it. Because MBAs teach you, most of the MBAs, they teach you how to manage, but here we talked about how to create the business. So that is Startup Easy all about. Thankfully, it became #1 bestseller in the world initially, and recently it was #1 again in US. Very recently, last. So that was it.
I would like to add here, that's an amazing book, bro. And I read that PDF version long back when you shared it first on LinkedIn. And this is a must-read kind of a book for people who are starting and want a compiled and very easy to understand without any complicated jargons to it.
So you reminded me, actually what happened is, while I was halfway in the book, that was my first book. I never wrote any book. In fact, when I was not good in writing, in almost all my exams, I used to write, finish up very early. I never revised because I never like to read my own things. So I was skeptical that probably would there be anyone who would read my book. So I thought, why don't I put it on my LinkedIn and Facebook and understand what is the feedback of people of this unwritten, half-written book. I was, when I posted it, it was, I asked people, if you want to read this unfinished book, I can share the PDF copy, but you have to share the feedback. And a lot of people came forward. I was amazed that there were more than 30 lakh views, 3 million views on my LinkedIn post, and then the LinkedIn stops counting. So 30, that is how I got to know that 3 million is the maximum views somebody can count on LinkedIn. And I sent this book to 50,000 people. 50,000, I was it took me a lot of time to send that book, but it connected me to lot many people. Like there was Dr. Sumash, he's not doctor, Sumash Singh, who's the managing director of Dell EMC from South Africa. So he contacted me and he said, Shishir, I read your book. It is very good. Uh, it was big thing for me, and that motivated, and a lot of people appreciated. So I thought, why don't I complete it? Probably people are liking it. And till date, lot many people tell me, Shishir, I read your book those days when you actually posted it half finished. So you reminded me that. Thanks.
It's an amazing book, and just like your community, which are managing it amazingly well. So I think we'll have a lot of questions for you and our viewers today.
Definitely.
But I would definitely second that people who haven't read that book should read that.
So now, as we know, some incidents bring back the memories of past, which was so beautiful. So now that you've written such a beautiful book, which has motivated so many people, these some of them might, come back to you and tell that, this book of yours helped us in our business and all. So how do you feel when they come back to you and tell you that it is your book that has helped them reach where they are now?
So actually, while I was finishing it up, I thought of a very new concept. I thought, why don't I make it a author assisted book? What if people read it and ask me questions directly? So I call it live book. That is first of its own kind, wherein readers who buy this book, who are reading it, can ask me questions directly, and I have my contact details mentioned there. So a lot of people contact me, and it feels very very good that I am able to help lot many people. And the most common feedback that I get is, Shishir, it feels like you're talking to me while I'm reading that book. So that actually satisfies me, because the purpose was to write something which is easy. That is why I named it Startup Easy. So technically startup is not easy, but reading that book is easy.
That was great. So as you are talking, startups are not easy. So that's what my next question is about. We know that going ahead with a startup is not easy. There are many challenges that the entrepreneurs face, especially in the beginning, and might feel demotivated because of this. How do you suggest them to keep going despite the challenges that they face?
So like a normal person eats breakfast 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock, an entrepreneur must eat rejection straight in the morning, right? So 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock, the time you wake up, you start making calls and eat rejections in your breakfast. So that is how you prepare yourself for the day, right? So if you are able to prepare in that manner, then life becomes very very easy. So then you think, if you have people abusing you in the morning, then the entire day is like, very beautiful, because you think now things are fine. So this is what I always say: be prepared. Start with the difficult, most difficult part in the morning. Start making calls, specifically the cold calls and outreaching people. And with that feedback, if you that will make you prepare for the day, you'll become stronger day by day. And entrepreneurship is about becoming stronger.
That's great. Handling rejections is tough, and people are going to have a tough time in the beginning, but maybe in a week or so, they'll also get used to it when they begin with it. So, the best thing is to begin first and then try to overcome the challenges.
Right.
So, moving on, we know that there are some people who have really great ideas and, can do well if they start with something of their own. But leaving that comfortable life, doing a 9 to 5 job is not easy for some people. So, what is your viewpoint on this?
So actually, what as they say, they pay you to forget your dreams, right? To fulfill their dreams. This is all about the corporate life. Generally, we are accustomed to a particular 9 to 5 culture, wherein we like to have things which are easy coming to our way. Entrepreneurship is definitely very, very difficult. And when we talk about entrepreneurship, you need to be prepared about the failure. Failure is the most important part of entrepreneurship life, which actually hampers your decision of entrepreneurship while you are in a job. Nobody wants to fail. So ask yourself this question: what if I fail? If you are overcoming that question, if you think that yes, you can fail, failure is good, then you won't find any difficulty in entrepreneurship. But if you want to stick to your 9 to 5 life, then keep on waiting. There would be one day in your life wherein you will be thinking that I made a mistake. At least I must have tried. So trying is never bad. And I always say, as early you start, it is better for you. If you're coming out of the college, go straight, uh, start your business, become an entrepreneur. Even if you fail, then job is waiting for you. But if you are in late 40s, then you try your business, it becomes very, very difficult, because that is the time where you are not prepared to take the failure, right? Because a lot of people know you have done a lot of things in your life that particular moment. So it's better if you're coming out of the college, uh, you prepare to be uh, an entrepreneur. Even if you fail, nothing bad. And that's how the concepts like Kidzpreneur come into picture. If you start very, very early, if you think about entrepreneurship while you are a kid, by the time you come out of school, you would be ready with a particular idea that could launch in the market, and you start making money. By the time you are 16 or 17, you would already be having a steady income, right? So uh, that actually is what required right now in India. Uh, if we start very, very early, specifically in while we are in a very early stage, parents must also try to convince their kids, try to motivate their kids to become entrepreneurs, to at least think about entrepreneurship in an early stage, so that they become self-reliant. Right? This is the biggest challenge right now in the Indian parents' mindset. Everybody is enforcing jobs in the mindset of the kids, right? So that is not the right thing. We should not enforce, we should not think that mera beta engineer hi banega or mera beta doctor banega. Why should we enforce this? We should give them this choice. 1% of the population controls 99% of the population. Why not your kid get into that league? So we should give them an open field. We should also give them the chance to be to chance to try, wherein they can find out whether they fit in to become an entrepreneur or not. So actually entrepreneurship is difficult, but when you reach a stage, then it becomes very, very smooth life. So just like we, all our life, most of the kids, they uh, they chase the marks. They are running behind the marks. Why? Because to get a good job, they should chase uh, they should chase experimentation. They should chase failures to become an entrepreneur. And I'm sure Kidzpreneur would be doing a lot of work in that stream.
Very well
Agree.
said, bro. Very well said. And that's what the ideology of Kidzpreneur is all about. We welcome failures for them. And just to add, we have got two kids startup now. They're at the age of 14 and 15, and they're trying some new ideas, and we are supporting. So yes, we need to prepare better thought leaders rather than better, job doers kind of a situation. And once we let them choose whatever way of life they want to lead and allow them to try their hands on in their own ways, I think that's the best choice we can give to the kids.
Definitely, if you need any kind of support from my side for the kid CEOs, I'm always there.
Thank you so much.
It's, great. It was great listening to your answer to this 9 to 5 question. And I think when we're talking about failures, it's the higher risk taking that that the people need to be ready for, because it's like we just take a back seat when we are working. It's not like we don't get failures in job. There are times when we fail even at our jobs. There are layoffs. Then there are times when we don't get a promotion that we had worked so hard for. There are times when a project that we worked on for so long doesn't work. So it's like we need to do that for ourselves instead of doing it for other people. So that's one thing that we can do. And moving on to the next question, you are so closely linked to the startup industry, being into it for so many years. Why do you think the startups important?
Startups are important because startup brings innovation. Innovation is the better way of doing things. So innovation actually improves the way of living, right? All the problems are solved by startups. Almost all the problems. So startups identify the problems. They solve the problems in the society. Uber solved the problem earlier. If you talk about previous days in US, it was yellow cabs, right? You have to, or you look at India. That would be a more common example. If you have to go to railway station, there was in olden days one kid used to go to the taxi stand and ask the taxi, negotiate with different taxi drivers. Then the kid used to sit in that taxi, come to your house, then you load your bags and all, and then you go to the railway station. So it took around 1 hour extra, half hour in going to the taxi stand, half hour in searching and coming back. This is saved now, right? Now you don't have to negotiate the price. Now you don't have to in fact talk to the driver. You just put in everything in the app and it's there, right? Now the kids are saved from this particular job. Previously they were doing it. So this is entirely the way of life is changed. This is what startup can do, right? uh, had it been no Uber, then you cannot even imagine about it. So this is the startups bring a lot of innovation. Startups change the life, and actually this brings down the pricing of a product by delivering more quality. So the startups are actually helping the ecosystem, the entire world, in becoming a better world. Startups, you cannot take out startups. If you look at US, startups is one of the reasons why US is US today. India would be, I'm sure, one day reaching at that particular level, like the dream of our honorable Prime Minister, which says, each one can should create 5 jobs. When job seekers become job creators, the nation will start developing. Actually, this is what we have to do. So everybody should start thinking about startups, even if you have never thought, even if all 5 generations in your family have been into job, let it be government job, does not matter, right? This is the time. If you don't react now, if you don't prepare yourself now, then I don't think so you can ever be. This is the time. This is the high time you start thinking about entrepreneurship. No matter if you fail, nothing is going to happen, right? But if you are successful, then you are going to make a positive change in this world. So start thinking about startup. Startup is very important. There are a lot of organizations, StartupLanes, Kidzpreneur, lot of organizations are there in India to support you, help you, hold your hand, make you raise funds, take you further. This is a very good time for India to do startup.
I think some of the people who had great ideas till now and were, unable to come forward with them are gonna get very motivated today, and maybe they'll ping you only. So you need to be ready for a lot of messages or
Definitely.
calls that you might get after the session. So now that you are linked, you are linked so closely with the startups through your startup lanes. So what motivated you to come up with this startup lanes initiative?
Uh, Technically, while I was building my business, there was nobody to hold my hand, and I'm happy to say that I frequently failed because there was no guidance. I was not knowing how to do things. Old days when I registered my first domain, I used to, I went through a local TTC bus to Polarsoft. I was waiting there for an hour approximately. Then they asked me to fill up a physical form, and then they asked me to get a photocopy. So this was actually that happened, and then those days they asked for cash. They took around 800 rupees cash from me and gave me a cash receipt. So those days I was thinking about how difficult it is. There's no guidance. There's no there's nobody to help out. So I thought probably when I settle up, when I become something, when I achieve a level, I will give back to the nation and I'll try to help out those people who might be in a situation similar to me. And 2015, I actually were thinking about it. Then, I saw this news of housing.com and I started searching that the ecosystem is changing. India is thinking seriously about startups. Then this I was invited by CNBC Young Turks as an investor. So I invested in a startup, and I got more closer to the ecosystem. Then I heard Modi ji's speech about Startup India policy, and that influenced me a lot. So that moment I thought this is the time I should specifically create an organization dedicatedly for startups. So that time I was into real estate business. I thought of exiting that flourishing business and coming back to something which makes me happy. So I was moved by this idea of Honorable Prime Minister when he said that each one should think about creating 5 jobs. Job seekers should become job creators. So I thought why I should also do something to support this idea. And thankfully, we have done a lot. Now we are into 40 cities, 7 countries. We are growing at a fast pace. We have started incubating startups. Uh, and this year, we have an objective of at least bringing not less than 1,000 people into mainstream entrepreneurship. So let's see. We have already started. We have incubated 2 companies this month itself. Let's see how it goes. But yes, people are taking interest. They are coming out of their satisfactory jobs. They are thinking very seriously about entrepreneurship, and this is going to change India. These smaller companies, especially the SME and startup sector, these are the job creators for the nation, not the big companies. If you check out the entire number of corporates offering jobs, you will be amazed to understand that most of the jobs are being created by the SME sector. So startup is actually good for the nation. That is why StartupLanes exist. We are here to support the startups, and so far we have received lot of love from the entrepreneurs.
And we hope that you continue to get more love from the entrepreneurs and more of them flourish and get successful in their businesses. So,
Thank you.
thank you, sir. Moving on to the next question. We know that COVID-19 has disrupted various things. Startups are no different. There must be, some startups that would have just begun with their operations when COVID came, or there must be some that would have been planning to begin with their businesses during this time when we are in lockdown. So it has basically brought everything to a standstill. So how do you think can the people who are, planning all this can cope up with this?
So frankly speaking, Indians are tough nuts. So you can't break them easily. And there's nothing different happening. Lot of startups were already struggling. Lot of entrepreneurs, were are feeling like normal. So this is the new normal for them. They were struggling before COVID. They are struggling after COVID. Nothing has changed for them. Uh, Obviously, they understand that pivoting is the only way out. And like some startups, I know a couple of startups who started in travel industry. They are facing the challenges the most, the maximum. But they are also thinking about pivoting into virtual travel. See, life should not stop, and so is your startup. You can change the ideas. You have to be very flexible. You might not know. It's like a journey where you don't have Google Maps, right? So anything might come your way. Maybe a dinosaur is standing in front of you. Maybe you'll find mountains. Sometimes you'll find rivers. Sometimes you find sea. So you have to be ready, and you have to be flexible enough. You can't say I will walk the sea, right? You can't say I will fly the mountains. So you have to climb the mountains. You have to uh, walk the road. So whatever comes your way, be prepared for it. This COVID has done nothing new for most of the startups. They were already struggling and they know how to survive. And as a lot of investors are saying at this particular moment, any startup that knows how to survive is fundable at this moment. So no need to show revenue, no need to show a lot of traction. Even if you survive, then you are very much fundable, you can scale up.
That's great to know. So, moving on to the next question. How do you think are the budding entrepreneurs transforming the startup ecosystem?
A lot of budding entrepreneurs are coming up with very innovative ideas, and these ideas are out of the box. They think in a fashion which has never been thought. So they are trying hard. They are changing the way we think, the way we look at the things, the way we behave, or the way we respond to a particular uh, input. These startups are actually very disruptive, actually very innovative. And I'm not just talking about tech. Lot of startups in non-tech, they're coming up with innovative ideas. To quote an example, there was I was talking to a founder yesterday. So he said, I want to solve the problem of hunger in entire world through the solution that we already have. So I asked him, what is the solution you're talking about? He said, uh, you every household makes makes a meal for their family. Why not they make two extra rotis or three extra rotis, and then we can commercialize this, so that people will get home food, people will get uh, good prices, and people will get home love. And this idea actually is pretty workable when we discussed in deep. And I found that nobody, might be a possibility that lot many people have thought about it, but he told me lot of things which are patentable, which I never thought about it, which I never heard about it, which could be converted into an algorithm wherein you can check the quality, wherein you can keep a check on the pricing and the delivery, lot of things. And this was a rookie entrepreneur. This guy has never done business. He has the total experience he has of a business is 2.5 months. So you can imagine, if this is just one example of entrepreneurship in India. Lot many people, lot many rookie entrepreneurs, lot many new starters are coming up and thinking in these lines. So future is very bright. They are going to make the bigger change in this world, and we should all support them. We should all wish them all the best.
Thank you so much, sir, for that
Thank you.
motivation. Moving on to the last question that I have for you for the day. How can entrepreneurship be promoted among the school kids?
So obviously kids like to have play. Kids like to play. You cannot enforce things on them. The best way out is to go out there, engage them, and make them believe on entrepreneurship, make them think of the ideas, and buy this idea themselves, instead of asking the parents or asking the principal or teachers to enforce this. They are already enforced with the book, they are already enforced with the curriculum, they are already enforced with the sports, they are already enforced with the parents expectations, right? This should not be enforced. This should come natural to them. Just like we do natural activities. They like to play, right? They like to play video games, they like to eat chocolate. This should be very normal and natural like that. It should be like, like a kid likes chocolates, kid should like entrepreneurship. Start from the beginning. It should not be as difficult as studies are. It should be natural, it should be normal, it should be easy, it should not be enforced, and it should come step by step, not too much of it, right? Because too much if you give, then nothing is going to happen. So small doses of entrepreneurship, step by step, in a phased manner, engaging the kids, interacting with them, and understanding their ideas. It's amazing. Kids can think of anything. They have good ideas, great ideas, and if you appreciate their ideas and write those ideas somewhere and try to utilize in a particular organized database pipeline, then a lot of big things are coming your way. Lot of big.
And I think talking about the kids where their parents can promote their ideas and talk to them, this lockdown time when we all are stuck inside our houses with our family members, this is the best time to conduct open-ended discussion with the kids, promote their ideas, help them in experimenting in front of their eyes. So I think this would be the best on the part of the parents at this time. And once the schools open up, it's the teachers who are the second parents to the kids who can help in the promotion of entrepreneurship among kids.
Definitely, they should be attached to the idea. Teachers, if they themselves are satisfied that kids should take up entrepreneurship, then this would come very natural to their way.
So, Shishir, it was great having you here with us, sharing all the ideas about the startups and telling us why, in the first place, are startups important to the Indian economy or maybe otherwise. So,
Thank you.
thank you so much. Thank you, Shishir, for joining us for this session.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, before we end today's session, I would like to thank all of you for joining us for this session. These testing times under the COVID-19 situation have created a vacuum and forced us to face times that we had never dreamt of. Engaging kids has become quite an effort who are forced to stay inside their homes 24/7. This KidzLive initiative, like many others, may help you in keeping your child engaged. Stay tuned.